Hey guys, what's up? Alec back with the daily stock market, and look at that, a very interesting week to say the least. We have AMD was up 8% just on Friday alone, 20% up in the last week. So the question is, will it come down? What goes up must come down, but will it anytime soon? Okay, so we'll dive into AMD. We'll also talk about Tesla in this video because they are reporting earnings on Wednesday this week. So 3 days until Tesla earnings. The stock is down around 18% in the past month. So will we get bad news? Will we get good news, or somewhere in between? So make sure you stick all the way to the end of the video so you don't miss out on any valuable information. Slap a thumbs up on this video, subscribe on YouTube for all the full-length videos, and let's jump right into this video. So let's start off the video talking about Tesla stock at $212 per share, up 65% in the last 12 months. They've been having their peaks and valleys. We can see every couple months they go through a cycle where they top out and then they drop, and then they top out and then they drop. So we can see Tesla stock drop under $200 per share once again. Very, very realistic. Great place to have your price targets. Great place to be buying for long-term, in my personal opinion, if you are a long-term holder. And even for swing traders, there's a very easy possibility we'll see Tesla stock go down under $200 per share, and then in 3-6 months down the road go above $250, $265 per share once again. If we scroll down and talk more about earnings, we can see that there is an earnings call coming up, and some of the top questions we have right here. 4 million shares represented by this question. Given that you moved the start of the next generation compact vehicle production to Austin, has the timeline improved so that we might see the next generation platform vehicles in 2025? Very interesting question. Like Cybertruck, Roadster, and the cheap $25,000 Tesla that's still coming out. Here we have another big question. When will Tesla start construction on the Giga Nvda expansion and Giga Mexico, 2 new factories? And when can we expect each of these to produce their first products, such as the 4680, the Semi, and the next generation vehicles? So right now, there's a lot of questions around the next generation vehicles. So expect a lot of answers on that topic. Should retail shareholders be concerned that Elon has stated he is uncomfortable expanding AI and robotics at Tesla if he doesn't have 25% of the voting? Which is an interesting question, is hinting that he might open another company instead of putting the AI under Tesla, which is interesting to hear some feedback on that. How many Cybertruck orders are in queue, and when do you anticipate you will be able to fulfill all existing orders? And if we see this analyst article, we can see ahead of Tesla's Q4 earnings, Analyst Positive despite muted outlook for margins, new product ramp up. By 2025, Cybertruck pricing will likely come down as production efficiency improves, says Gene Munster. The full self-driving technology, once adopted widely, will become Tesla's ChatGPT moment, he adds. Okay, interesting. Tesla's fourth quarter results due Wednesday is key for the electric vehicle maker, given investors' worries over the company's fundamentals. Ahead of the results, a venture capitalist and Tesla bull, Gene Munster, weighed on the aspect that will likely be on investors' radar. Margin is key for this earnings. There is risk to consensus core auto margin estimates of 17% for December quarter due to the ramp up in Cybertruck. He noted that margins peaked 7 quarters ago at 29%, and despite the concentration seen since then, Tesla's has outperformed other automakers with 10 to 14% gross margins. You know, that's very interesting that their margins were as high as 29%, and that was their peak. So the question is, can they get to that 30%, and can they get margins back to where they peaked at before, or is it just downhill from here? We see Munster expects CFO to guide to stable margins due 2024. However, he sees core auto margins to come in at 17 to 18% is the expectations. below the current consensus of about 18.5%. Long term, the analyst sees operating margins trending at 25% or greater, which is good news to hear overall for long-term investors. New product ramps. Tesla investors will likely be keen on knowing the ramp of Cybertruck, the Model 3 refresh. Munster said he expects Cybertruck sales of 35,000 units in 2024, 125,000 units in 2025, and up to 250,000 units in 2026. Very bullish for the next few years. The Cybertruck is expected to account for just under 2% of its total deliveries in 2024 and 5% in 2025. By 2025, Cybertruck pricing will likely come down as production efficiency improves, the analyst said. This, in turn, will result in ramping up sales, he said, by adding the first big year for Cybertruck will likely be 2026. So keep that in mind as a long-term investor. Okay. Other focal points, Muster said investors will also be keen to know about the full self-driving timeline, an update on Giga Mexico, Giga Nevada, and the timing of the new model launch. The fund manager said he agreed with Tesla CEO Elon Musk's view that the polished full self-driving would become a reality as the company has the best real-world AI team in the world. We will see a chat GPT moment when it comes to full self-driving, when the product quickly moves from a science product to a must-have mainstream feature that every car will need to adapt and have that full self-driving. Otherwise, you're going to be getting left behind in the dust. Munster said he, however, questioned whether full self-driving will become a reality in the next 3 years. It could take longer. Lots of interesting things going on for Tesla. You know me, I'm just dollar cost averaging, and for long term, buying a little bit heavier, under $200 per share. And if this earnings come out and Tesla stock doesn't do as well as it should, good news, because it's going to go on sale and it's going to go down to around 195 or lower, which in my opinion, my personal opinion, which would be a fantastic time to buy for long-term investors. And let's briefly talk about AMD stock, because what the heck is going on with AMD stock, up 20% in the last week alone. Okay, this stock is up 71% in the past 3 months. It's been following its counterpart Nvda pretty well, up 158% in the past year, but hasn't skyrocketed as much as something like Nvda. So the question is, will AMD continue to soar higher and higher, or will it start to pull back? So let's take a look at this analyst article here. History says the Nasdaq will roar higher in 2024. 2 revolutionary AI stocks to buy before it does. The past isn't exactly a crystal ball, but sometimes a look back in time can offer us clues on what might happen in the future. You can apply this to investing by looking back at the index past performance and noticing patterns that may repeat themselves today or in the future. And by doing this right now, you'll see history calls for the Nasdaq Composite to roar higher in 2024. Since the launch of the index in the early 1970s, as part of every rebound from an annual decline, it's gained for at least 2 consecutive years. And after each annual loss of 10% or more, the Nasdaq climbed an average of 56% over those 2 years. Considering the Nasdaq advanced 43% last year, if the index follows its routine in the past, it could be heading for another double-digit increase in 2024. And let's take a look at how could you as an investor benefit from a soaring Nasdaq. By investing in the companies that contribute the most to the index movement, such as the top 10 most heavily weighed in the index, and then narrowing that down to companies offering exciting growth prospects now. And that brings me to 2 companies set to lead the artificial intelligence, a market forecast to reach more than 1.3 trillion by 2030. Let's check the 2 revolutionary AI stocks to buy before the Nasdaq rockets higher. So we are talking about AMD, but we have to talk about Nvda because Nvda is like the big brother. So we see that Nvda started out by conquering the gaming graphics marketplace thanks to its GPU, and that's driven earnings gain over time. But in recent years, the rest of the world discovered the power of GPUs, and Nvidia's sales and share price has absolutely skyrocketed. These powerful chips handle multiple tasks at the same time by dividing the work among many processors, and as a result, they significantly speed things up. And that makes Nvidia's GPUs as essential AI tools, serving as an engine for the deep learning involved in generative AI. Great thing is, as a result, industries from healthcare to automotive are turning to Nvidia chips to drive their AI programs. In the most recent quarter, Nvidia's revenue soared to a record $18 billion, led by the record data center revenue. The business that benefited from a booming AI market, data center revenue surged 279% to more than 14 billion. Operating incomes of 10 billion well surpassed operating expenses, another positive point. At the same time, increasing research and development spend shows Nvidia is investing to stay ahead of the crowd. The important metric of free cash flow and return on invested capital have climbed over the past years. Proof Nvidia is deploying its cash wisely and benefiting from those investments. Today, Nvidia holds more than 80% of the GPU market, and though rivals have multiplied, I'm confident this leader will continue to dominate. That's because the company has the first to market advantage and a top product. And loyal fans of Nvidia GPU performance may not be tempted to switch. They also have huge amounts of cash flow for research and development to stay ahead of the curve. But this is where it really starts to get interesting, because we could see a trend in the central processing CPU market illustrates this. Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, has grown in shares in the CPU markets for laptops to 22% over the period of a decade. Okay, but during that time, it hasn't been able to unseat the leader Intel, which holds 69% of that market. All of this means AMD, also presented in the GPU market, by the way, they're not just CPUs, they're also in the GPU market, could continue to gain in market share over time in GPU and CPU, but without even necessarily disturbing NVIDIA's dominance. Okay, so that's a very interesting statement. It basically is indicating that, yes, there can be NVIDIA dominating, but there can also be AMD and Intel dominating at the same time. There doesn't just have to be one big winner, and the likely scenario is AMD. If NVIDIA keeps continuing to dominate, and AI is the future, then guess what? AMD's always going to be there dominating just as well. If NVIDIA is doing well, it doesn't mean that AMD's not doing well. There's room for both of them, and that's the most important takeaway of this article. Yes, NVIDIA shares have soared in recent times, but the company's earning growth, market leadership, and key role in AI means there's plenty of room for gains ahead. And as a stock market environment favoring growth also should favor NVIDIA, making it a top stock to buy before the Nasdaq soars in 2024. So I hope you guys really liked and appreciated that video. If you did, smash a big thumbs up on the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss out on any full-length videos. If you want to join my stock market family and make 2024 your year of stock market success, we've helped thousands of students at this point, and you could easily be next. Click on success number 9, success number 8 on the highlight section of my Instagram and read through some of these positive testimonials that many people have had. Thousands of people. Click through any one and read through it. There is huge gains to be had in the stock market, and 2024 is the best time to start and experience that growth. And if you've already tried in the past and haven't made any gains, it really helps when you have someone like me who knows what they're doing to point you in the right direction and steer your ship the right way for 2024. So give it a try. Now's the time. Message me on Instagram at the Daily Stock Market, 222,000 followers, 870 posts, and I'll be more than happy to shoot you over my website and application so that way I can learn a little bit more about you and help you out the best way possible. Also, feel free to message me on Instagram if you have any questions. Again, thank you guys for all the love and support you have shown me again and again on YouTube and Instagram. I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember, don't time the market, buy the market. Peace.